Hello, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Man of Toast, and yeah. So, how, how do I start this? I just thought I'd get this out of the way because this is still something that I can't believe is still floating around. Um, I have my theories on Supreme Leader Snoke and all that, and you guys have already seen that. Um, and there is still some merit to Supreme Leader Snoke being Plagueis and all that kind of stuff, but somehow this thing is still floating around, where people just can't let it stop. They just latch on and don't let it go. there's there's still this misconception in some people that Jar Jar Binks is Supreme Leader Snoke. Now, if you've seen the movie, you know that is not true. That is not true. He's not anything. He had the potential to be something, but he is not anything anymore. And the reason why I say that is because there is some merit to the Darth Jar Jar theory. As we see here, it is maybe my frame over here is covering it, but it even says in the caption here. It's ridiculous. Uh, Now, there is some merit to it. Like George Lucas and the guy who played Jar Jar and all the people involved have had their part in suggesting that Jar Jar would have had a bigger role, that he was actually a Sith Lord, mirroring Yoda, because he's short and green, and Jar Jar is tall and red, and you know, and the Empire Strikes Back, starts off as this annoying kind of strange little creature, same as Jar Jar, and where Yoda turns from this little thing, this little insignificant thing, to being a Jedi Master. Jar Jar was supposed to be this annoying lizard rabbit platypus thing, and actually be a big bad Sith Lord. Some people go as far as to say that he was the master of the whole time, that he is Supreme Leader Snoke, and that Sidious was under him. Uh, that is where it kind of starts to fall apart, I think, because there is not too much illustrating that. Whereas, if we take a look at all of our lovely pictures, I don't even know where it was. I think I lost it. It's fine. Um, and the proof behind the Jar Jar thing is that he's throughout playing this impossibly stupid thing, he's actually tricking and inching his way into the Senate and the Republic and all this kind of stuff. You'll see here, this is where the king of the Gungans or whatever is saying, "Hey, Jar Jar, you're a general now." And they say that Jar Jar mind tricked him into saying that, so he mind tricked his way into being a general, and then uh, there's he's mind tricking, or he's supposedly reading Senator or Queen Amidala's mind, and tricking her into going back to her planet. And then we have here where you don't see his hand here, but there's a better picture. You see his hand. He's doing these gestures. Apparently doing, this is all just speculation, of course, but doing a Jedi mind trick or whatever it is. So he's doing that, and then we all know the the big flip he does near the beginning, where he jumps into the pond when he's leading Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan to the underwater city. He does this big old flip. He doesn't do it at all, or he doesn't do anything else like that in the whole series. Just that when he does a huge flip, kind of depicts that he's a little more than he's letting himself on to be. Then we have here where he's making fun of Qui-Gon and kind of setting the seeds in Anakin for disrespecting authority and all that kind of stuff. It goes on and on with all these things. And in that sense, I think there was definitely something being planned where he could have been something larger. Right here we'll see he's Palpatine, he's walking behind him, and the people that think he's the Grand Master, they're seeing it as like the Master is keeping an eye on his apprentice, Sidious, I mean, and Sidious is doing everything by his calculation, I guess. But I think if the evil Jar Jar thing was or if it has merit, then I think it goes on the lines of Jar Jar is the apprentice and Sidious is still the master, and that instead of Count Dooku being the main bad guy at the end of Attack of the Clones, it was supposed to be Jar Jar, and the title of Darth Tyrannus was supposed to be Jar Jar's Sith name. And I don't like this theory a lot for, I think, a couple of reasons. The main one is that if it had gone through, like first, let's just be clear, the only reason why it didn't go through, if this was the case, was because people had such a bad reaction to Jar Jar in the first one, and they didn't want to see him anymore. And if that's the case, then the problem is commitment. So when you're a writer or you're making things, if you're making content like stories and movies, then you have to deal with the subject of commitment. Once you have a thought that you want to act upon, and you started to write it, and people don't like it, you have to decide if you're going to commit. And it would seem that Lucas did not commit to the evil Jar Jar thing. And that's where I have a problem. Because A, you either have to play it safe and not have that character inside of it, or B, play it risky, have the character in it, leave him the way it is, but improve the character, or make it all make sense in the next film or in the next part of the story. Both of which, and what Lucas did, it would seem, was kind of put himself halfway in and then just kind of left it there. Because we see these kind of traits in Phantom Menace, of course, and we see it in Attack of the Clones, where he just, knows when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are going to show up. He beats them at the elevator without having any prior knowledge that they were coming up, or so it seems. Mind tricking the Senate to give Palpatine more power, and then randomly at the very end we have this old man as being the bad guy. Christopher Lee was turned into the bad guy, but I think that what was supposed to happen was Jar Jar would have been him, and that fight scene would have been between Yoda and Jar Jar, and in the third movie would have been Anakin versus Jar Jar. And I actually would have loved that. That would have given the whole Phantom Menace and a lot of the prequel series, would have given it a lot more character, would have made it feel more, it would have been more interesting. we may have still been annoyed by the first movie, but it would have given it more value. We wouldn't. I don't think we would pick it apart so much if there was more character involved. Uh, so actually, this is going to sound odd, but the very reason why I don't like the whole thing with Jar Jar being a bad guy is because it didn't happen. I wish it did happen. It would have made it very intriguing. It would have been a little sketchy, I will admit that, but it would have been a better turnout than what we had. Um, so that is that, basically. I mean, I would have loved to see Jar Jar in this light, kind of turn from this silly thing to this monster. Would have been very cool, I think. Would have made everything worthwhile. But it just didn't happen, and I guess lastly, to just finish this all off, Jar Jar is not Supreme Leader Snoke. We have seen him now. If you haven't seen him in the movies, then watch it. You will find out that he is not Supreme Leader Snoke. It's not a spoiler. It's just a fact. You need to let it go. He was a failed experiment by Lucas, and whether he was supposed to be evil or not, I guess we will never truly know. I think it makes sense that he was supposed to be, but it just didn't happen. So that's it. Hopefully people will finally accept that he is not a thing anymore. He is not a part in the series. And I mean, there's always that chance I could have just jinxed myself, and he could be in the last movie, just kind of shot in there like, plot twist, he was Snoke the whole time. But that's very doubtful. What is this? You didn't fail us, George. We failed you. What the hell does that mean? Alright. Well, anyway, thanks for watching. That's my Jar Jar Supreme Leader Snoke video. If you want to give suggestions on what I should do next, I'm open to that, because I don't know if this is going to work or not. So stay tuned, and see you next time.